Hello, I'm Jake Baum, along with Aaron Heyman, and welcome to the Blitz Talk Show, a football talk show where we cover major news from the previous week in the National Football League. Week 12 in the NFL wrapped up this past week, so let's get started covering some talking points from the biggest game of the week. We'd like to officially welcome our NFL analyst, Aaron Heyman. Aaron, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here.
Awesome. So let's talk about the first game. We're talking about the Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. Now, this seemed like a game from this past weekend. It seemed at first like it would be a blowout from Kansas City. Ended up coming down to the final minutes. Tom Brady once again added to his interception total, throwing an additional 2 picks. In the first quarter, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs went on a 17-0 tear to just start the first quarter. And the Bucs went on to outscore the Chiefs 24-10 in quarters 2 through 4. Bucs can't keep playing like this if they want to get anywhere in the playoffs. What needs to be changed for Tampa Bay if they want to contend with the Chiefs or teams like the Chiefs going forward?
Well, first, there's not much you can do if you want to contend with the Chiefs. That is an unstoppable offense shown. Tyreek Hill is just virtually unguardable. He showed that today with the historic game. I don't see how whatever adjustments that any team can make that they could stop that fully, but they'll definitely need, if they're going to have to compete with them in the playoffs, need to have some sort of adjustments. They looked good. They didn't give up. They played really well. They kind of capitalized on the Chiefs' kind of complacency. They kept the game really close, and I think that's promising, but they need to find a consistency on the defensive side of the ball. They've allowed, some really, really big games from both guys like Drew Brees, who, definitely has not had nowhere near the same kind of output as Patrick Mahomes this year. So they need to find some more consistency on defense to then limit Patrick Mahomes to where that they can compete with them on the offensive side of the ball. The potential is there. That's such a talented team. I think this was an important game for them to see how they're going to match up with them if they do in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it was interesting. There are some underrated members of the Buccaneers defense. For example, cornerback Carlton Davis had a pretty bad game against Tyreek Hill, but that just goes to show how good Tyreek Hill is playing this year. Carlton Davis is still the number 1 vote getter among cornerbacks in the NFC for the Pro Bowl. Now let's turn to the Tennessee Titans. They traveled to Indianapolis this weekend to face the Colts, coming off a win in Green Bay. The Colts a lot of people predicted this to be much more of a contested matchup, but it looked like the Titans were in control from the beginning. Many praised the Colts for having the best defense in the NFL, and here they come into this week and they give up 45 points to the Titans. Now, Derrick Henry did put up another stellar performance with 178 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. But how did the Colts go from the best defense in the league to allowing a team such as the Titans to score 45 points on them?
Yeah, well, I think once Derrick Henry wants to get going, no one's going to stop him no matter what defense. And I think, even the best defenses in the NFL sometimes get outmatched by a team that really feels it on offense. I still think they have a great defense, but the Titans offense is really good. They can't, against the Packers the week before, they couldn't fully hold that. They just did a good enough job, forcing the fumble on Marquez Valdes-Scantling in overtime just to get that win. And that shows, what the defense can do, but I still think it's a strong part of their team. But against good offenses that, the passing game is there. And of course they have just an insane running back in Derrick Henry. No matter who they're almost playing on defense, it's really not going to matter.
Yeah, that is, I will say that they face 2 great offenses, but that is a little concerning for the Colts, having given up a lot of points 2 consecutive weeks. Now let's turn to possibly the biggest surprise of the past weekend comes from Atlanta, where the Las Vegas Raiders came into this game boasting a 6-4 record in prime position for the AFC wildcard slot for one of the 3. They were heavy favorites coming into this game against the Falcons, who had a 3-7 record and an absolutely abysmal defense. The Raiders fell flat on their faces from the beginning. They went on to allow the Falcons to score 43 points on them while only scoring 6 points on that Atlanta defense, which once again, I will say it is terrible, especially this season. Earlier this season, the Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a big upset. So this proves what I was saying earlier, that the Raiders are the kind of team, the Las Vegas Raiders are the kind of team that have the ability to beat any team in the NFL, in my opinion. They have the team that can beat any team in the NFL, but they could also go and lose to the Jets this coming week. I could totally see that happening, and I wouldn't be surprised. Where are the Raiders in the pecking order right now after being the epitome of a tale of 2 extremes?
Definitely. I think that the Raiders have that kind of potential, especially because their defense has been really struggling. I mean, both times they played the Chiefs, I mean, obviously one time they beat them, other time it was an incredibly competitive game. But I was not more surprised that the Falcons won, just looking at it from that standpoint, but how they beat them was incredibly surprising. That defense has been awful this year, like you said. And for them to just absolutely lock down Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and John Gruden's offense was incredibly surprising. You know that the talent on offense is there. They can keep up with any team. Obviously, in the beginning of the year, they had really trouble holding on to leads. It was the defense that was really kind of causing them to really having an awful start. But on the Raiders' point, yes, I can 100% see them losing to the Jets just for the fact that already the defense is struggling. That's something that they're going to need to work on if they really want to get over the hump. But the offensive consistency is not there. And
yeah, I think any team that loses to any other team by 37 points could lose, even to the Jets.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the Jets are, it's tough for any team to go 0-16. They're due for a win. I wouldn't bet on it. I still think the Raiders have the better chance, but like you said, I mean, this could be a trap game for them.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much, Aaron. We really appreciate it. And we hope everyone watching enjoyed this week's episode of the Blitz Talk Show. If you enjoyed, we'd really appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe down below. We hope to be back soon with another episode, and have a great week.